Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal X, Xbox's, or I should say, Boss Rush's Xbox podcast. Completely messed that up, but yeah, throw up the X.
Cobras.
I am your host, Jesse Douglas, and I am here with Corey Deerig.
Hello.
And Stoy. Stoy is joining us today.
Hello.
And it might be a more regular thing, so look forward to that. Having some more Xbox love on this show.
Yeah, I have an Xbox. I have a couple Xboxes, so I believe that makes me an expert automatically. So
It does.
Yeah.
Are you one of the people that Xbox is paying to promote Game Pass?
No, I should be.
Yeah.
Because I write articles every week for BossRushGames.com telling them everything that's coming out on Game Pass, so they should be paying me.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm getting paid off, I'm still waiting on that check. Phil, I'm waiting on that check.
You know, honestly, I meant to ask you, since we're part of the second phase or the second group of Boss Rush games, where's our check? I thought we were supposed to be getting paid.
I mean, you get paid when I get paid, and I'm still waiting on that. So
listen, we all know that Boss Rush money is coming in like wine.
Is.
So
you're right.
You know,
I'm actually wiping my ass with some Benjamins every day.
I knew it.
He opened up an offshore account.
I did.
Clearly, yeah. All your money's in Switzerland right now.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I guess we'll wait.
But
being around good company is payment enough.
Yeah. I'm paying to promote Game Pass is more like it.
Oh, the money's going to Jesse because he's the host of Arsenal.
No, I'm just paying.
Okay, so I should be asking you then. All right.
Jesse's fault. Fault.
Yep, that's what happens when everyone knows when you're a manager or a lead, everything that everyone under you does is your fault.
Oh yeah, and you're getting paid twice as much as what they think that you get paid. So
yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, manager makes like 6 figures. Like, nah, not really.
No. Yeah. Usually you're being paid salary, so that means they can make you work 80 hours and still get paid the same amount
and cry a little bit.
Yeah,
while you're dying inside.
Yeah, but this is Arsenal X. We talk about Xbox, not crying and dying inside a little bit, but
we could talk about that. I mean, we gotta bare our souls to some people sometimes. So
yeah, true.
Yeah,
true.
Well, but not today.
Yeah. But yeah, really quick, I just wanted to let people know that they definitely need to go to our website and check out some of our other shows. Crossroads, our PlayStation podcast, Pow Block, our Nintendo podcast, of course, Arsenal X. You're listening to it.
You're listening to it.
Yeah.
In your ears.
And there's a lot of great other shows. Like Stoy is part of EXP Cast. If you haven't checked that show out, definitely go check it out. 1v1, our interview shows. And we have all the entertainment that you could need on the entertainment side of Boss Rush.
Like maybe don't need.
Yeah. You might not need it, but
you needed it.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe your mom or your brother needs it and you don't. You could always tell other people about our shows.
I want to know whose mom is a fan of Bible Man. Okay, I just want to know.
Oh, I'm sure there's some moms out there who are a fan of Bible Man,
and especially in the Midwest, I guess.
Yeah, they've probably even claimed to have been visited by him.
Well, I was over the weekend. I was kind of camping up in northern Wisconsin, and Jesse, I'm sure you can attest to this that that would be the area where people would probably love Bible Man. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, even like where I live in Appleton, I mean, there's like a church on like every block. It feels like so.
Yep.
You know, like there's a lot of, but I mean. The nice thing about where I live, though, it's very versatile or very diverse, I should say. there's a lot of different stuff going on here by me. I mean, you can, I'm constant, I used to where I lived constantly have like the, all different people coming to my door and, trying to sell me their religion, but
the goods. Have you heard the good news?
Yeah,
they say.
The one time they even gave me a CD of like Christian music and stuff.
Sweet. Was it Creed?
No.
Can you take me higher?
It's funny that you bring that up because that song what is it? The With Arms Wide Open. That was on. Yeah. It was on a podcast I was listening to, and one of my favorite things has always been me and my friends. I'm a big fan of Weird Al, so we'll just always on the fly just come up with just goofy lyrics for songs, and so mine was called with cheeks wide open.
I'm pretty sure that's not what Scott Stapp envisioned when he sang that song.
I just took a shit today, sat on my toilet, and let it spray with cheeks wide open.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Stoy, you sure you still want to be here?
No, I don't. I am actually logging out right now. Have a good night.
Yeah, me and my friends used to do that when we were working in the restaurant business, and you try to come up with things to entertain yourself.
Your job at Applebee's, you're saying?
No, actually, it was Country Kitchen, which I don't even think exists anymore.
It does. There's one here.
Yeah.
There's one about 15 minutes from my house.
Yeah, there's one I think in Upper Michigan too, by my in Marquette area. So
yeah, there's one. There's two exist. By me, I think. One in kind of Racine, Kenosha, then another one kind of in north, like in Germantown or something like that. So.
Okay. Yeah, ours used to get hit hard during E3 or during the EAA stuff, when they had all the
I was going to say the EA conference.
The EAA, EAA stuff.
The Oshkosh Air Show, yeah.
Yeah, they would people would just come like crazy there because there'd be so many people in town.
That country fried chicken, man.
Yeah.
Country fried chicken and gravy.
It was the breakfast buffet. Nice. The breakfast buffet we had.
Yeah, that too, probably, yeah.
Was actually pretty good, but yeah, so. But anyways, yeah, so definitely go to our website and check out all of our other stuff.
Maybe you guys should go to the Country Kitchen and just review the food.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, tell us what you think.
Yep. Tell us, hey man, Greg's nuts. That's something else I want to bring back to on this show that hopefully I would like to get some more questions and things like that, or topics. Maybe Greg can throw us a few food questions.
Greg Osterman the third.
Throw us a few food questions, but all right. Yeah, so why don't we get into what we've been playing, or what's in our arsenal, I should say. I always forget to try to stick to, it's called what's in your arsenal. Not what we've been playing.
It's all the same. It's
I know.
The same.
Yeah, but you guys are branded, so it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
So. I also had a really good. You know how Nintendo Power Block has Snacktendo.
Yeah.
And Crossroads has Plate Station.
Yeah.
Got one. I got one for Arsenal X.
Nice.
Arsenal Snacks.
Yeah,
Arsenal
I
Snacks.
did. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do my fair share of snacking, so
yeah.
that would fit in.
I didn't look like this by eating salads, guys.
Hey, be proud of that. Be proud of that dad bod.
I would until we went to the zoo today and we walked up the hill and I thought I was gonna die because
you had to take a break halfway up and be like, is there a seat I can sit down for a moment?
Not in the shape I used to be. It's fine. It's 15 years of cookies and cake and pizza.
Well, did I overhear? I think one of the last times I talked, you played D1 football.
Me?
Yeah.
I played college football for 2 years, and
okay.
Yeah, I went from like 275 pounds to 350 something pounds in in like a year
Wow.
because of what they had me on, and it was not.
Were you an offensive lineman or?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was. Yeah, didn't feel
Wow.
great.
No, I bet.
No.
Yeah.
Not great.
Bet your arteries didn't really feel great either.
No. No, my
Yeah,
heart was like, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here!"
I quit before practice was even done because I wasn't. I've just never really been into sports like enough to really have the drive that one would need to want to play them.
Mhm.
And it was just always kind of like I guess I could give it a try and see if it's something that I'm into. And yeah,
Look,
I'm
you
like,
get it.
I'd rather be home doing stuff with friends or whatever. I'm not passionate enough for this. Like, I
Yeah,
might as
look,
well
you
just stop before
get
I
enough.
waste time.
You get enough injuries and cortisone shots and ankles and fingers taped up, and like sometimes when I'm watching the Browns, I'm like, man, I miss that. And then I go to stand up off my couch and my knee feels like it's gonna blow up. I'm like, maybe I don't. So,
Yeah.
See, I played I play soccer, still play soccer to this day.
Yeah.
And just I got an Apple Watch, so I played last week Sunday, and I tracked my calories finally, and I played like pretty much like 80% of the game. I subbed out maybe a few times, but ended up burning like 1,400 calories in one game. So that gives me justification to like eat like shit like afterwards, because I'm like, I gotta replenish all these calories that I just burned.
Yeah.
But yeah. No,
Yeah.
soccer's been in my blood. That was something that
Yeah.
growing up was just like, it was ingrained in me. My dad came from the old country, and just like first when I started walking, he got me a soccer ball. Basically, it was like I couldn't do any other sport in my life. Anytime I had an inkling of, I want to try this, I want to try that, my dad's like, no, soccer. And I was like,
what is your nationality?
Serbian.
Stoy? Serbian.
So
Okay.
my whole family's from Serbia. I was first born here, so
Okay.
hence the accent.
my wife's family is Ukrainian, so
Oh, cool.
yeah, so like it was always like it was dance for her, but like
That's how it is for in Serbian. It was that's how it was with females too. Like the guys would do soccer, and the girls would just go to do dance groups. So and I think we have similar dance style dancing or whatever. I don't know. So.
Yeah. So I was wondering because like they call it the old country too, and I was like, well,
Eastern
I know
Europe.
I was like, yeah, it's not Russia or Ukraine, but it's somewhere over there. So
yeah,
Yeah.
Eastern
Cool.
Europe. It's all we're all kind of the same.
Mm.
We all got to stick together. So
yeah, I'm French, so
that sucks.
yeah. The coolest thing I can say about my family is that my dad's great grandpa was like a French artist, and then his family moved here and opened a bar. So that's
cool.
my family's story.
Yeah.
And I'm mostly German, so I don't want to know my family. No, but yeah, like no, I'm mostly German, but like some there's my great grandma was mostly Native American, so there is definitely some of that in there, which I've like since a child I've always been just fascinated with the Native American culture, and I've
do you get reparations at all?
No,
is your percentage high enough, or
I don't think so, because well, even if it was, honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they've changed that a lot too. I think they've upped that percentage quite a bit.
I imagine a lot of people jumping on Ancestry.com and finding out they're 4% Cherokee, and then they're like, I want money. It's like,
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way.
My mom has some Cherokee on her side, but I'm just like, I'm pretty pasty. I don't think I
Yeah.
could even
Yeah,
try
exactly.
to say
That's-
anything. You know,
Pretty
Like,
sure I don't
it's-
count. Yeah.
That's what I'd feel like stolen valor.
I mean, I look at the sun through a window, right, and I get sunburned. So it's like,
Yeah.
probably not,
Yeah.
but it's fine. It's fine.
All right. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
Cultural
right.
X is our new
Yeah.
show name
Yeah.
now.
Cultural X. CX.
All right. So
See where all
In
the white
Soviet
people come
Russia, games play you.
yeah. Yeah. Bosses beat you.
from.
Yeah.
Bosses
wait,
rush
that's-
you.
All right. Why don't we start with you, Stoy? What's in your arsenal?
You know that I don't know if you like after E3, Xbox dropped a bunch of those bunch of demos.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting it, and I didn't think I would like this because I saw this game get announced, and I was like, why the hell would I want to play a game delivering mail?
Yeah.
And it's a game called Lake. I don't know if you guys heard of it or saw it in
Yeah.
the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and but I was like, I saw the demo, and I was like, all right, let me give this a shot. And all of a sudden, I was like enthralled for like
Yeah.
2 hours. The demo's pretty meaty, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm really digging this. Like, this is kind of cool. Because there's actually story in between
Yeah.
the beats where like it's taking place in the 80s, and you're this aspiring tech savvy woman. She's working for this tech company in the 80s, and she's developing this program. I don't know what it is, but she ends up having to go back to her old town that she grew up in Portland or Seattle or state of Washington.
Mhm.
And it's like this very small little lakeside town, and her dad is a mailman, but he's going on vacation for 2 weeks. So she coincides her 2-week vacation to take over his job. So
Mhm.
basically, you're going back into your old town and you're delivering mail, and you get some people that are like, "Where's our other mailman?" And she's like, "Hey, I'm his daughter. I'm filling in, whatever." And then sometimes you meet people you haven't seen in a long time, so you kind of reconnect with people and you ask questions, and it's kind of cool because like you could go through the game talking to people, and you could be kind of like a jerk, like just take this mail and shut up, or you can actually like kind of like interact with people, like, "Hey, how are you? How's it going?" You could be nice,
Mhm.
or you could be just straight businessy. And it's kind of cool because like the whole map opens up after you go through your training and find out like what it takes to deliver mail because it's complicated,
Mhm.
And I'm sure it is, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, like the whole map opens up, and then it's like these are all the spots where you have to deliver mail. So you drive there, and you get out, and then you deliver the mail or you deliver a package. And then sometimes you interact with the people who you deliver the mail to. Like you deliver the mail to like a video rental store,
Mhm.
and they got actually some of the best movie posters there. So there's a big movie poster that says Back to the Present. It's like a kind of like a dig on Get Back to the Future. Then there's like a Ghost Hunters video, but it's like, knock on Ghostbusters. But yeah, it's pretty chill. There's no combat, there's no right answer, wrong answer kind of thing. It's just all in how you want to play it. And like I said, it's a pretty meaty demo. I got about like 2 hours into it, and it's pretty relaxing. It's got its little bit fair share of bugs right now.
Mhm.
So I'm like all of a sudden like the sound will cut off,
Okay.
or like some of the fauna will like pop in, pop out. So like texture
Yeah.
popping in all the time, but I get a gist of the game for the most part. It sounds like it's going to be really kind of cool, really kind of neat story, and very interesting characters. I think the characters are really what's going to make this game. So I got. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, like, they said these demos are more akin to what you would play on a show floor. These are really early, like almost alpha builds of these vertical slices, right? They're not like it's not like a time demo of the full game. You're like, oh, you're done. Goodbye now.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that explains it because this is a pretty significant. Like I was playing it for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I was like, wow, the game hasn't even stopped me from playing yet. And that makes sense because it is kind of broken, but it gives you a sense of what the game is about.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not being harsh on it at all. I'm like, obviously this is a demo and this is very early, or maybe I don't know what stage of development they're in, but I'm liking it so far. I think it's a pretty cool concept, you know, kind of adding a little bit of like walking simulation and, you know, mail delivery, but like, you know, the characters seem very interesting to me at this point, you know, and the acting's pretty good. So
Yeah, I remember when they kind of first showed it, it was like, oh, this seems like it could be very much like a Life is Strange kind of, like game where you've got, like there's something deeper to, what's going on or why you're doing the things that you are. And yeah, like I was kind of interested in it when I seen it, just like looking at it from that aspect. But
right.
I'll definitely have to give that a shot because yeah, like I've downloaded and played some of those demos and stuff as well, but I haven't done all of them. But I'll definitely have to look into that one because it should still be available. So
Yeah, it should be. I think though that whole list is still available, and it's put in a different category. Like I think like when you go to the Microsoft Store, all those demos that they release from E3 are in their own separate category, and I don't know what they're called, but you can't just like click like through all games available or anything like that. Like it's like
yeah,
its own special side menu category. I forget what
yeah,
it was,
I
but
think there is a demo. I think there is an actual demo
yeah,
sidebar thing that you or category
I
that
think that's
pulls.
why. Yeah, that's why I how I found it because I ended up playing another game called it was like a beat 'em up game. God, I forget the name of it already. But it was like a Streets of Rage,
Okay.
kind of like side-scrolling beat 'em up, and it was pretty standard fare.
Hmm.
Um, just walking and punching and kicking and punching and kicking and terrible voice acting. But it's made by a Turkish developer, and
Okay.
they're all speaking in English, and probably some of the worst English accents I've ever heard in a video game. But like I said, I'm not there for the acting. I'm just there for to
Yeah.
beat people up. So
Yeah.
There to
otherwise,
beat people up.
otherwise I actually downloaded Mech Warrior 5. It
Yeah.
was on that just got released on Game Pass, so I just got started playing that. So I don't really have much to say. And otherwise, I've been jamming Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Boy,
Nice.
love going back into that universe again, especially with the nice updated graphics and everything. But
Yeah.
it's weird like seeing like old Xbox 360 games being played on new hardware.
Yeah.
Everything's all cleaned up, but you see all the imperfections. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
BioWare doesn't know how to make hands.
No.
Yeah.
If you look at their hands, God,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but like every time like my shepherd, because I play as Fem Chef, every time she moves around, I was like, "What's wrong with your hands?"
It's an accident.
Like
Move your
they look like
hands.
it was all there. Like everybody apparently had accidents with their hands, and they're all burnt. Like that's what they look like. God,
That now I know why Mario and Sonic wore gloves for 40 years.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows
Yeah,
how to
right.
do anything else.
Yeah.
Nintendo doesn't know how to make hands. Sega doesn't know how to make hands. I mean, I imagine making hands like look realistic in video games back then is hard. I imagine now they could probably do a pretty good job, but
Yeah.
so and here's hoping with obviously Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect 4, that they can kind of nail that tech down, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think that's the thing is, like in a lot of games where you see hands, there's usually some form of glove or armor or something that they're wearing. So it's like,
Mhm.
like, well, I
Well, yeah,
guess,
because when you think about it, and I guess now that I'm thinking about it now, like all the articulations your hands do, especially when
Yeah.
you're talking, like some people like to talk with their hands, and
Mhm.
they do these different things, and it always looks so wooden when you're looking at old video games,
Yeah.
unless they're fully motion captured, like Naughty
Yeah.
Dog games or
Yeah.
games like that. But yeah, when you have like kind of pre-rendered, pre-made up like animations, like how do you articulate their hands? Like it's just
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine it's easy to develop.
Yeah, no, yeah, like you said, if they're doing, yeah, it's one thing if they've literally got little sensors on every little finger when they're doing mocap and stuff like that.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah. But
that wouldn't be fun.
that's pretty much what I've been playing.
Okay.
When
Okay.
I've not been being the outdoor woodsman. My wife got me an axe for Christmas, or for my birthday. I mean, My birthday was a few weeks ago, so I was using that over the weekend, cutting up wood and
Wow,
stuff.
you guys really do just live in the just Wisconsin.
Yeah, yeah, this weekend, man, it's like, I mean, from Milwaukee, it took me a couple hours to get to where I was over the weekend. But yeah, man, it's weird, like falling asleep to nothing, complete silence. Imagine that for a second. No cars, not even like crickets chirping or anything like that. No like light, building lights in the sky or any kind of like background noise. Just dead silence. Couldn't fall asleep for like an hour because it just freaked me out.
Yeah.
Because I live off a main street, so like falling asleep to nothing, I was like, Gah.
Well, and even like you said, like like when there is that dead silence, except for like crickets or whatever, you realize just how loud that stuff is.
Well, yeah,
like
because I think your ears, your ears become like hypersensitive because your ears are like, wait a minute, we don't hear anything, something's wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't know if our ears just like turn up the volume or something like that, and that's when like I heard a bird chirping this morning.
Yeah.
And like I was like, it sounded like the loudest thing on the planet to me.
Yeah.
But like birds chirp outside my window here, like in Milwaukee, like every day. And I don't even pay attention to it. I don't know.
Yeah, like I, like definitely, being from Wisconsin, I always grew up like the camping and stuff is like it's like if you don't camp and you live in this state, like people look at you weird. But like, yeah, like I a little over a year ago now, we went camping in Upper Michigan with my wife's family, and we were like our site was just right across the kind of like street, if you want to call it, pathway that cars drive through. There's a couple of like tent areas, but after that tent area was just a drop down right to Lake Michigan.
Okay.
And holy crap. like hearing those waves crashing late at night when you're trying to sleep and everything around you is dead silence except for the water. Like, and that had been the first time I had ever slept by water that close, like late at night, and had massive thunderstorms.
Oh
And
God,
talk about loud. Holy
yeah.
Like you could just hear it, like the sound traveling across the water, and then like it was an intense sleeping situation. Like,
But that's the kind of thing that I love.
Loud.
Like I love that kind of silence. I love that kind of solace. Like into it more lately over the last couple of years of my life, because I never did that as a kid because my parents were like, outdoors are bad. That's why we live in the city. And it's like now over the last few years, I've kind of been like, man, I got to get out. So actually next weekend, I'm going to be in the UP, the Upper Peninsula. I'm doing a little motorcycle waterfall tour where like I'm hitting all these waterfalls on my bike, and I'm actually going to be tent camping up there. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Nice. Yeah. Man.
Get on my Harley and just go.
Yeah. There's honestly, in my opinion, like there's a lot of places I want to go in the United States yet, but like it's going to be really hard to top like northern Wisconsin and upper Michigan. Like that's just where I want to be. Like,
hey, Boss Rush Games camping expedition. Let's go. Let's get everybody up to northern Wisconsin. I'll bring my axe. We'll have Corey cut up some firewood. We'll have Eddie build a fire. I think LaRon will do the grilling for us, so he's gonna have to get a grill up for him.
Yeah, we could get some, and then Logan can bring the barbecue.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but
Celeste will have to too as well because she's from New Orleans, so she's gonna have to bring seafood and stuff. And
Yep. Yeah, that's one of those places I haven't been yet, but I definitely want to go sometime.
Well, I unfortunately for you, New Orleans is a very dirty city.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I imagine if you're there, you love
the
it.
Experience.
Yeah, it's like, definitely about the experience, especially Bourbon Street. Bourbon Street is an experience, let me tell you.
Yeah, because like I've been to, my wife has family in in Vegas, and I went and I experienced that, and it's not something. It's just not for me.
2 days.
We'll just put it
2
that
days
way.
max in Vegas.
Yeah,
I think that's about all anyone can take. So
California is the only place that I've really enjoyed longer than a week.
Right.
So, but that's
so what
cool.
what else have you guys been playing?
Yeah. What's in your arsenal, Corey?
Well, in terms of Xbox, it's just been Destiny, and I played a little bit of Halo the other night.
Nice.
Just because, like, I don't know, all this stuff surrounding Halo Infinite just has got me excited for Halo again, and I jumped into the Master Chief Collection for a little bit, and by the way, like, those games still play really good, but they still play like you remember them.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're pretty, especially like Halo 2 and 3 are still pretty archaic in terms of, like, there's no sprint button, which really throws me off. Like, instead of zooming in, the shoulder button is throw your grenade, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, every time I go back to Halo, man, that's always yeah.
So
it's like shooting through binoculars. That's what it makes you feel like.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, and so, like, I played a little bit of Halo 4 multiplayer, which is still, like, for me, it still feels the best out of all of the multiplayers. I played a little bit of that, and then I played a little bit of Halo 5, which I still like the movement and stuff in Halo 5.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that stays a little bit, which it doesn't look like it is, but I still really like the way Halo 5 plays.
Yeah.
What in your, I mean, I know a lot of times when I bring this up, see, my favorite game is Halo Reach out of the series. And I love all the Halo games, just about as good. But I think when Halo Reach came out, it was the most different of all the games. And I think it had kind of like one of the best stories and the best characters at the time, instead of just being focused on Master Chief. So what do you think of Halo Reach?
It's the only Halo game I've never finished.
Oh, okay.
Which it has a lot to do with what was going on in my life at the time. And then I just never went back to it. But
me, you, and Ed started it.
I know, and we got to the same exact spot that I stopped at.
Yeah, when you got the what was it, the remaster or whatever? Or
yeah.
Did you guys play the remaster? Yeah.
Well, we did. Yeah. We used to do this show called Squad Goals, where we'd all log on and play multiplayer and stream it and do dumb stuff during our playthrough. Like Ed, half the time Ed would like fall asleep while he was playing with us, so we would push him off the edge.
Yeah.
Murder him straight up while he was running in front of us or something. So
been there, man.
He's 2 for 2. I think he's 2 for 2. Like both times that we played Sea of Thieves with him, he fell asleep.
Yeah, and then like I start like the thing he hates the most is when he falls asleep and then he wakes up and my pirate is dancing in front of him.
Yeah,
he hates it. He hated
it.
Well, which, by the way,
he needs to drink a Monster Energy drink or something.
Yeah, we gotta play Sea of Thieves soon, Jesse, because
I know
that pirate stuff.
Yeah,
but I played some Halo 5. I also played a lot of Destiny just to catch up on this. There are some weird. If you play Destiny at all, there's some weird stuff going on in Destiny right now, in terms of story, and it's fun. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
The seasonal event that's going on right now is not very fun, but it's like the way you catch up on the story is by progressing through the seasonal event. So, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've just kind of been watching the cutscenes online because I don't feel like doing the event because it's not fun.
Yeah.
But Iron Banner comes back next week, and then the Solstice of Heroes, which is like their summer event, is happening. It starts next week too, or the week after. So there's some things coming up, but the big mark on the calendar right now is the last 2 weeks of the season on the calendar is marked epilogue, which is like what's going to happen here. So that's kind of like what everybody's pointing to right now. But there are bad guys in the tower, the main hub area of the game, and nobody seems to care or notice, or both, which is disturbing. So yeah. I mean, if you want if you want the full rundown, you can listen to Tower Casuals because we dove deep into it last week, and we're going to dive deep into this week's story this coming week. But
Nice.
there's just some weird stuff going on in Destiny right now, and it's kind of cool and kind of creepy because we've been hearing about this villain, which the next expansion, the Witch Queen, revolves around, and it seems to be alluding towards what's happening with that expansion. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I might actually have to check out those episodes because I'll be honest, I recently deleted my Destiny 2 just because I like with art I don't have money to go out and get a $250 expansion thing right now at this moment.
Is that how much it would cost?
For the terabyte thing that plugs into the Series X.
Oh yeah, that thing, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was 180 on Newegg last week.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. It seems like it's going to be coming down in price in a couple weeks, which
and I've got
the
money
SSDs are just still wildly expensive.
I'll probably get when they come down. I'll probably get one for my Series S, just so I don't have to keep removing it from the one in the living room. But
what I would like to do is I'd like to get 2 of them and just have games on, because what's nice is you can just, like a memory card essentially, you can just unplug it and whatever games you want to play, like you can have them on.
I kind of wish it was in the front of the box instead of in the back, but
yeah, when I set up this studio that I like now where I record, like my desk right now that I'm at is facing my doorway, so there's nothing behind my desk, so I can just access everything behind it. Which is like I kind of want to do.
It's not that hard to reach behind the Xbox and pull it out. It's just like,
but at the same time,
it's kind of annoying when you're like when you move the memory card like 3 times a week to record stuff or play in the office while you're editing something, or when you're not editing, you can go play on your TV that you paid a lot of money for.
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, it's not something that you can, obviously just have like a USB hub, because that would defeat the whole purpose of the speed. Like, just have like a hub that you could just plug a whole bunch of them into it. But
what's this creepy vampire anime person that you're?
Sorry, this is Tifa. She was like standing. She was standing next to me, and she actually just like stands on her own.
Oh.
So
and I just picked this up this weekend.
Yeah. I picked her up when we went on our Nashville game collecting trip.
Oh, and, nice.
So everyone made fun of me for it, but I don't care.
Who cares?
Tifa is bae.
Tifa, yeah. I'm gonna agree with you.
So I always say, if you have problems with storage space, just buy 2 Xbox Series X's and call it a day. Like,
well, maybe I'll win one. I put some of my points towards the sweepstakes thing where you can win. You win
the Series
sweepstakes again. Series X.
It's the Series X. Those new headphones. I think a monitor. A terabyte. One of the storage things. And there's a whole crap load of stuff in there, but and it's a Resident Evil Village bundle like type thing.
So, every time I get enough points, I flood my points into the sweepstakes, the LG OLED, the 65-inch LG OLED, and the Series X. So that's where all mine go.
Yeah, well, most of mine go to I have it set up where every month, because it's cheaper if you do it this way. It's like 8,750 points to get a $10 gift card. And so I just have that set up to do that automatically, because a lot of the times the things on there, that they're offering points for stuff I'm gonna do anyways. It's like I'm trying to get a lot of my movie collection digitally on my Xbox, because then I can just watch them through Movies Anywhere app and stuff. So like a lot of times it's like you can get 3,000 points if you rent or buy 4 movies that are $4 or more, and it's like, okay, well, I want to get this in this movie anyway, so
Cool.
I'm halfway there. But yeah, so
Well,
yeah.
Jesse, what's in your arsenal?
So I've just mostly been, honestly, like, other than the casual Fortnite with my friend that I play, I've been playing Scarlet Nexus and just absolutely loving that game.
Tell me
Ooh.
about that, because I wanted to pick that up this weekend, but I hear it's like anime Bloodborne.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a great game. It's a lot like a Devil May Cry, or
Okay.
like that kind of stuff, but it's got some really cool things that it does. So like you could, like many RPGs where you have like a team of people that fight with you. They kind of have that aspect of it, but instead of you like literally controlling or telling what those people do, they will fight on the battlefield with you. But like what you can do is like, and they kind of go through this in the beginning of like when you're going to the training, but you're essentially part of this group of people who are fighting this anomaly of creatures and stuff that are coming into the towns and stuff and wreaking havoc. And you're part of this like military, like special class of like defenders who take on these anomalies and stuff, and eradicate them, so they don't do more damage to the city that's already than what's already been done. And there's this whole like plug system of like these big plug like spike things that go into your back, and they like shock you and stuff. And so like it takes some getting used to, like, for the characters, and they talk about how painful it is and stuff. But essentially what it does is it like it's a way to link yourself with your team on a level where you like like I said to my friend, it's kind of like Naruto, where like a lot of people have like their own distinct like abilities and things they can do. Like some people have like fire abilities, or like uh moves that they can do that are linked by fire, or people who can move really fast, or whatever. And so like when you have these people in your squad, you can you hold like LB or something and press like whatever button is linked to that person in your team, and then those plug things will shoot into your back. And then you like harness the power abilities of whoever's in your team. And so then you can, like, when you're using your sword attacks and stuff, they can be linked with the fire ability or whatever, because some characters have like weaknesses to fire, or or more have weakness to this, or and like your character that you start out with, or at least the guy one that I started out with, has like um the ability to like move, like pick up things with his mind and throw them. And that, like, that part of it, of like they do this really good job of you mixing your physical attacks with those attacks as well. And like I really like that it's not quite about doing like pushing a whole bunch of buttons for a certain combo at this point. It's more about just like like very easy. It's not hard to get around the combos that they do.
Okay.
And it's more about like an up attack. You like, so if you do an up attack and then you can mash a button, and you'll do a whole bunch of hits to them while they're still in the air. And then if you hold like your kinesis or whatever attack right after you finish your regular physical attack, then all of a sudden you'll see this, like, whatever you picked up, just smash them in the side of the head or whatever. It's a fun game, and that's one of the games that there's a demo of as well from during the E3 on Xbox, and you get to play a good chunk of the game in there as well. They get that gives you a really good idea of what the game is. They kind of even jump a little bit ahead of when you have a couple of people in your team, so you can really experience that using other people's abilities. So yeah, like the game is just amazing, and it's not, it's like, and I've said this before, like it's one of those games that most people who know me would have never expected me to get into, but it does a lot of things that are just really, really interesting and keep my attention. So,
Very cool.
yeah, because
Yeah, I was kind of on the fence about this because I'm kind of in that same boat with you that I'm like, I don't know if I'd get into this because kind of
Yeah.
the things I heard about it, like leading up to it, I'm like, I don't know if that would be a game that I would kind of get bored with or like I would get frustrated with pretty easily, but sounds like it's, you know,
it's fairly easy. Like as
or at
far
least
as
like challenge. I
getting
mean,
into
challenging
it.
enough, right? Yeah, like
Challenging, yeah,
it's not
it's
like it's gonna kick your
challenging.
ass. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's easy entry level, I should say, for like a game that deals with combos and things like that.
Right.
It's not like heavy combo based like a fighting, like a Street Fighter or something
Right.
where
Yeah.
you've got to really hit those button combos or otherwise it doesn't work. It's not like that. It's a much more forgiving and a little bit easier entry level. So
I mean, the fact that you compared it to Devil May Cry first was kind of enough
yeah,
for me because obviously the
yeah,
Devil May Cry
Yeah, I
series
thought it
was
was
kind
more
of
of
the
a
first.
Soulsy.
Yeah.
yeah. It's I mean it has those it has like bosses and like I mean it has the dodging and stuff like that, like where if you do a good dodge, then you get those abilities to do a defense attack or whatever, like where you get that opportunity where things slow down a little bit to let you know that you dodged the attack well. And if you have your Nero network upgrades or whatever set, there is the ability to be able to get in a really good attack after doing a good dodge. And
Mm.
there are those aspects of that, but I feel like some of that stuff I thought was kind of like in a lot of those kind of games already, but yeah, I mean there definitely is those kind of like Souls kind of game things to it, but it's not super difficult like a Souls game at all. At least, in the beginning part where I'm at. And like the boss characters and stuff that I've seen so far are really interesting. I mean, yeah, like I said, yeah, if you really want to try it first before you absolutely buy it, there is that demo of it and they give you a really good like chunk of the game to really experience it. So
Very cool.
I definitely suggest for people like if they like those DMC like kind of games and stuff and like are really into like anime type kind of stories and things like that. It definitely is a lot of that, and they do a really good job of those things in my opinion from what I've experienced so far. So
Sitting here talking, I finally had a painful memory pop through my head. That I actually played Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance this week
oh, did you?
with another guy on the podcast, Josh, and I never deleted a game so hard in my life from my library.
That's funny.
We just had a terrible time with it, and I mean, it was a good game on paper, and the combat, everything was right about it. It was like a old, like kind of like just old fashioned like third person hack and slash type game,
It
and
kind
the
of
Dungeons
reminds
and
me of
Dragons.
Gauntlet a little bit.
Yeah, I think it kind of had a little bit of that, a little bit of kind of like if Baldur's Gate was kind of had that behind the back kind of camera angle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's entirely co-op. It can be if you want it to be, and you can pick like 4 different characters. You can pick, the dwarf, the human, you can pick an elven kind of dual wielder and stuff, and each has their own little abilities and whatever. But just the brokenness of this game, I don't understand how it passed, how it got through testing.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of the same sentiment about that game because a lot of people, that's one of those games that a lot of people were super excited about, and
Yeah.
and has that attention that when something goes wrong, you're gonna really hear about it. But yeah,
and that's what kind of like disappoints me about it, because it's
yeah,
like, here it is, that we had this. I mean, maybe it wasn't on the same level as Cyberpunk, because I thought Cyberpunk's glitches were kind of comical in a way, but admittedly I stopped playing it because those glitches were present. But um, these are, but a lot of those glitches didn't necessarily break the gameplay experience for me. This one did. When enemies attack you before attack animations happen, that's when it starts getting frustrating. Or when you got like homing particles, like someone throws a rock at you and you like the rock like takes like a hard right turn to hit you.
Yeah.
And like, what? Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Magic, I guess.
It's like curving bullets.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this ain't the game wanted, but the it just, there's a lot that's broken that kind of completely destroys your immersive experience. And I tried to play it. I thought maybe it's just lag, maybe the online servers are kind of jacked up, and that's kind of what's causing this. But it wasn't. When I played through single player for a short amount of time, all those glitches were present. And this is stuff you could see on YouTube. You YouTube these glitches, and it's like enemies are disappearing, and like attack animations are happening after you get hit, so there's no chance of preparing. Dodging is like atrocious, like if you can dodge, and just, man, it's just bad. Like, I hope they fix it. I like, but is this the kind of standard that we're going to be expecting nowadays, where it's like, let's just release the game, okay, it's broken, okay, now we have to fix it, now we got to work double hard to make it right. But it's like, is the damage already done? Like, all this bad press, it hurts the sales moving forward.
Yeah.
To where all of a sudden it's going to be a Mass Effect Andromeda scenario where, all the bugs are fixed, the gameplay is great, but the damage was already done with the bad media attention, and now everyone's like, "Oh, I heard that game is really bad. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to play it." But
which is unfortunate, because like I was listening to a conversation where they were talking with some of the developers and stuff about these kinds of things, and how, like, when they have a deadline set and they've just basically, they know like all these issues are going to be there in the game, and they have to have the game, a finalized version of it, pressed at a certain time, even though they've been working for months on fixing a lot of that stuff. It's just that it kind of gets trapped in that state that it was in, and like,
too many bugs and not enough time to fix it, so you try to kind of fix the most important ones, the ones that don't break the game. I actually, one of the ones was like, literally every time we beat a level or beat an act, so to speak, our connection got severed. So like, we would have to restart the connection to play the next level, and that was like kind of annoying. But like, I understand that part of development, because hearing all those stories, like, when that crunch time happens, when all of a sudden they got a huge list of bugs that the QA testers found, so then they go into kind of like overtime mode where it's like they got to fix them. But admittedly, I think sometimes don't even put a deadline on games. I know that doesn't work for a business sense, because businesses, publishers, video game publishers are businesses, video games are a business, so they need to put the games out at the right time so that the publishers and developers can make their money. I get that.
About the only company that it works for right now is Microsoft, to be honest with you, because they have the money to burn on that, right? And then like Game Pass brings them in, that supplemental income that they might not get otherwise. So I mean, you heard the story of Psychonauts, right? Like, it was supposed to come out last year, and then they said that, Microsoft said, take all the time you need to make this a good, polished game. And now, granted, it might not be like that forever, right? Like, if leadership changes or whatever, and you see, which I think whoever takes the place of Phil Spencer in the future is going to have the same mindset. Jesse, I think you and I talked about this the last time I was on, or if on Boss Rush or whatever. But we think Sarah Bond's going to take over Phil Spencer's role when Phil Spencer decides to step down.
That's going to be a big shoes to fill right there, man. Phil Spencer is the Xbox god, man. He's
I mean, like, he's up there with, like, in my opinion, like Iwata and Well, and like I mean, like I
Oh,
think
in terms of like personality
yeah,
wise.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just like he is Xbox right now.
But
Like
he delivers the right message that gamers want to hear. Like
yeah,
Xbox had that dark period when the Xbox One came out, and everyone was like not happy with the direction they were going, so they had to really reverse course. And then that's when Phil Spencer came in and said, "Games, let's talk about games. Let's hit these people
yeah,
with good games and good
I mean,
development, and good first party titles."
the fact that during the Summer Games Fest they had Satya Nadella come out and talk about games with Phil, right? Like that was like, I know that was probably just like a PR move, but it was a really good PR move, and that was a really strong message that says Microsoft is backing games, right? Which,
Yeah.
yeah,
right, like Phil Spencer had to convince them to keep the Xbox brand around,
hmm
and the fact that he not only did that but turned it around and actually turned it into something that like every day I see people say, "Oh, well, Game Pass is a great deal. I'm going to buy an Xbox," right? And like, yes, Microsoft's paying us, by the way, to say that.
Still waiting on my check though, Phil.
I know. Yeah, they're in the mail, I guess. But like it's every day. Like even people within Boss Rush who want a PS5, they're like, "Well, Halo looked great, and Fable seems like something cool. Oh, they're bringing back Perfect Dark. Oh, it's on Game Pass. Well, I might as well just get
Forza
a Series
Horizon
X."
5 though.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they,
Individual cactus needles.
I know.
Individual cactus needles.
They-
Come on.
like I found 4 Xboxes for people this week, and it was like, and 2 of them were PlayStation guys, right? Like Dan in Boss Rush has never owned an Xbox before, never, and he's gonna get it either a Series S or a Series X at some point. Like it's just, I don't
Yeah.
know. I know like PlayStation Hardcore or like that box is selling like hotcakes right now, right? But I think in the long run, in the long term, this plan, if they stick to it and they
360.
And
It's
they
gonna
get-
be like the 360, but the PS.
it's not even going to be
the-
that. It's just
Well,
going to be like,
like right now, PS5 is the 360,
oh,
where
yeah,
it's
it's
selling
Series
like
X.
crazy, but
right,
like the Series X is gonna just kind of slowly just
right.
go past, and like everyone will still talk about PlayStation, but here Xbox is selling more consoles
And
at the
and
end.
if they can pull off like something that has half the cachet of God of War or Horizon or The Last of Us or Uncharted, right? Like
hmm
they could just really. I really feel like Xbox is doing something special, and like Jesse, we've been talking about it for years, right? Where yeah, it took them forever to turn this boat, right? Like this ship, and Crackdown was like the turning point for me, at least. It was like, okay, this is like the last of that original, reveal of the Xbox One, right? Crackdown
Yeah.
3. This is it. They got it out, right? Gears 5 was the first game in that next direction, right? Them fixing the Master Chief Collection and giving that multiplayer suite an overhaul and giving it a season pass and all that stuff was moving it. Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
Another piece of the puzzle. Designing the Series S as pretty much the Trojan horse of like, oh, well, this will be my Game Pass machine while I play these PlayStation exclusives. And, I don't know. I feel like they're heading in a great direction. And with Game Pass coming to, it's already on smartphones, but like, I mean, Game Pass app coming to your smart TV, or the the Game Pass stick that's rumored to be in development, or I don't know, man.
Well,
They're
I
doing
mean-
something. They're just doing it. They're doing it.
Well, and
Yeah.
and like not to go back to this, but I mean, like generally, E3 was kind of whatever this year, but like, like Microsoft
I mean, we've talked
really
about it.
was a talking
Nintendo and
point.
Microsoft carried E3 this year, right?
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah. And like I've said, like, I absolutely loved Nintendo's and what they did, but at the same time, like Microsoft's was so important because it it was able to put a lot of people at ease who were worried about the future, right? Like they did what they needed to do, and that's why, you know, in my opinion, it had won E3. Is it did what like now you hear so many more people, like you said, just talking about even you know, just getting people to think about getting a new Xbox is a move in the right direction, you know, like for them, you know, like.
Well, yeah, when you think about all the exclusives that they've been talking about for years are finally coming out and coming out this year. You know, starting with Flight Simulator, Psychonauts, Forza Horizon, Halo Infinite this year too. I mean, I think they're gonna really win the next gen contest, if you want to call it, this year.
I mean, you look at that image I sent to the voice chat, right? Or
Yeah.
the voice,
which we can definitely get into that.
Where
if you,
is it? Let
you
me
want
pull
to
it
bring
up here.
it up.
Okay, so
I mean, these are big exclusives that they have.
This is
are coming out this year or next year.
This is everything that's announced for Xbox Game Studios, right? Flight Simulator, Psychonauts 2, Age of Empires 4, Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, the 1.0 release of Grounded, Deathloop, which is a PlayStation timed exclusive, but it will be coming to Xbox a year after release. Ghostwire Tokyo, again, a PlayStation exclusive that's coming to Xbox 3 months after. Starfield, Redfall, Senua's Saga, Project Mara, Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, Everwild, Forza Motorsport, Perfect Dark, State of Decay 3, Dusk Falls, Elder Scrolls 6, Contraband, Indiana Jones, Fable, Wolfenstein. And I'm assuming it is working on Doom, whatever the third game in the Doom trilogy.
Doom is,
yeah.
What's the one game too? The one that was like all body horror stuff. Is it
The Evil Within?
Skull.
Scorned.
Scorned, yeah.
Scorned, yeah.
Because
I mean, these are just first party studios games, right?
Yeah, and we're talking kind of like the bigger named ones. I mean, there's still like going to be a ton of other exclusives to Xbox that are going to be coming out, but
I mean, this doesn't include id's next project. This doesn't include In Exile's rumored RPG, which is rumored to be a Star Wars game. This doesn't include
Indiana Jones.
No, Indiana Jones is on.
It was.
Indiana
Yeah.
Who developed the Outer Worlds? Obsidian's third team's game.
That's because they're working on Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, and a third project too.
Yeah, well, I mean, Grounded, right? But like, that's just a small 12-man team. It doesn't really count as one of their big teams. They have 3 full-time teams there. Which I'm assuming will probably be Pillars of Eternity 3. I'm assuming.
I would like an Alpha Protocol 2.
Oh my God, please.
I
would love that, except for Sega owns the IP.
Sega.
Come on,
shit, put it in a bag, send it to Bethesda, Microsoft, someone. We need.
You just look at this lineup and you're like, how
is Alpha Protocol 2 not on this lineup? I know, right?
I know, right? Alpha Protocol 2, by the way, a buggy gem of a game for 360. The game was amazing.
Yeah, that game really was. I mean, it definitely had its fair share of jank, but not enough to ruin the experience for me, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, that like you just look at that lineup. This is probably what over the next 2 or 3 years, all this is coming. They want to release a major game every quarter, right? And I feel like they're going to do that. And like Stoy, like you brought up, their big promotion right now is 6 games in 6 months, right? And including Flight Simulator and Psychonauts 2, and if you have a PC, Age of Empires and Forza and Halo, all this year. Those are all this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I'm glad Game Pass exists because I would not be able to afford all of these games and play them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, especially when October comes around and there's that big dump of games from across all platforms. You know.
Yeah.
If you're a multi-platform owner like I am, you know.
Well, and like you know, and like that's not even mentioning the fact that they've done such a great job with you know, supporting the games that they already have, and most of it's all free. It's like they're like Sea of Thieves stuff, that's all free. Like I mean, they're
I mean,
I
you
mean,
look
you're
at, you
talking
look at
about
Halo
a
Infinite. Yeah.
Disney collaboration, and they're giving you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how Disney allowed that, but
I mean, I'm sure Disney is making a pretty penny off the microtransactions
Yeah.
from that, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that Plunder Pass is all about the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff, right? So
Yeah.
oh yeah, and I think you're gonna lean into Halo multiplayer being free to play, but
yes,
Yeah.
everything I heard on that deep dive video is cosmetic
Mhm.
purchases, microtransactions. That's
And-
what I heard throughout the entirety of that talk, where they were talking about like, everything is free in the game except if you
Well,
want to
they're
buy
going-
these little things.
Well,
Yeah.
they're doing the Fortnite Battle Pass thing though, where you buy the Battle Pass instead of buying cosmetics. They're not
Yeah.
nickel and diming you. They're doing the Battle Pass thing.
Right? Yeah.
But the thing is like if you have Game Pass or if you buy Halo Infinite proper, like that first Battle Pass is free and they never expire, which is
Mhm.
another thing. You can always work on an old Battle Pass if you like those cosmetics, which is so nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I hate the
But-
I hate the Fortnite model of that, of where either
Yeah.
you get it now or
Well,
it's gone.
It's to keep people engaged, right? And
Yeah,
it's like
I
if you
know.
want this, you have to keep playing, and the longer you play, the more money you're likely to spend. Like it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But where I was going with Halo Infinite's multiplayer, right? Like Battlefield being $70 and putting out a multiplayer only game is really risky in October.
Yep.
And this year's Call of Duty is rumored to be going back to World War II, which is something that I don't think Call of Duty players want. Putting Halo Infinite,
you have a subset of people that do like
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
no,
a
I mean,
strong showing of like kind of like old school players that like
yeah,
love
I'm just
that.
saying. I'm just saying, like word of mouth is like
Yeah.
people would rather have like that modern combat style thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like,
or like
putting
near
all
future combat. Yeah.
yeah, like putting that all aside, like you have those things, and then you give people Halo. Like I feel like it's like a perfect storm for Halo's multiplayer right now, with Destiny's next expansion being delayed to next year, Starfield coming next year. I feel like Halo multiplayer is just going to be the thing that people talk about, and which gets me really excited as a Halo fan, right? Like it just, I don't know. I feel like that multiplayer is going to thrive because it's really being discussed as probably being the dominant multiplayer if it works out of the gate, right? That's the other thing, is like it needs to work out of the gate
Yeah.
for it to just be to thrive. I feel like, because like you look at Halo 5, I don't know, and then you look at the problems with the Master Chief Collection when it launched, and like yeah, they got it to a good place, but like 6 years is a long time to get your multiplayer suite to work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say.
Yeah.
How tragic would it be that all of a sudden EA decides, hey, we're making Titanfall 3 and it's coming out in October? How tragic would that be? It's like, not again, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with Titanfall 2, because they dropped it in between Battlefield 1 and Infinite Warfare.
Yeah,
And it's like, man.
that was bad.
Yeah.
Well, and like after all this stuff happening with with the Battlefield and them kind of like taking a year off essentially with Battlefield, like now it's like I almost wonder if they were waiting with Titanfall, because they're just like, okay, we don't really know what's happening with Battlefield right now, so we're not even going to bother worrying about making a Titanfall right now because we don't want that to happen again.
Well, from what I understand,
We wanna
Respawn
figure
has
out.
no plans
Yeah.
to work on it. I think they're, Respawn just finished working on Medal of Honor, the VR game, and I think I'm pretty sure they're working on something else. I don't know what, but from what I understand, it's not Titanfall.
Yeah.
It's a
Which
new
is-
IP, I think. Is what
yeah.
they said.
Yeah.
Which is
fine.
unfortunate. I don't know.
I mean,
Titanfall 2 was such a good step in the right direction.
Dude,
Titanfall 1 was
Titanfall
good.
2 is amazing.
Yeah.
Titanfall 2, like I played Titanfall 1 on Xbox 360, which was like Bluepoint did a great job of porting that game down, by the way.
Yeah.
That game was really good on 360. But Titanfall 2 was just like, I feel like they perfected it in the second game,
Mhm.
right? almost, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was like,
they perfected the multiplayer, which was leaps and bounds better than the first one, and they also brought a campaign, which is something like a dedicated single player campaign,
Yeah,
and that
like
was
a
just like that
campaign
hit it
was
out of the
phenomenal.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And just the relationship between the pilot and your mech, your Titan, was
Yeah.
just like, I didn't know I could care about a robot so much.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
and it was funny. It was kind of tongue in cheek, and
Yeah.
all the single player levels were so different in every way, and just whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get me
Cry
wrong.
now.
Don't get me wrong. I definitely, the second that a Titanfall 3 is being announced, like, I'm going to be the happiest person in the world, but at the same
I'm gonna
time
drive
it's
up
like,
to Appleton, and I'm gonna pound on your door. We're gonna celebrate together, man.
yeah.
I'm gonna bring a 30 pack of Pabst, and we're gonna celebrate, okay? The real Wisconsin way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring some Johnsonville brats
Yeah.
and Pabst.
Some cheese curds.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna stop at Culver's. I'm gonna get a whole donkey load of cheese curds, man, and we're gonna live it
Wow.
up. You couldn't get more Wisconsin than what I just said the last like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And we'll go watch the Packers, all right? We'll go watch the Packers game. Go
We'll
Brewers.
we don't go watch the Packers. We just go drink in the parking lot. That's
true. Yeah,
that's where
go drink at
that's where
Lambeau.
that's where the real Packer fans are, is out
Yeah.
in the parking lot.
Let me tell you, I am like about like 7 minutes away from it will always be Miller Park to me, but
Yeah.
it's AmFam Stadium now.
Yeah.
But they just opened up to 100% capacity.
Oh,
And the just driving through there, and the amount of tailgating that happens in that parking lot,
Yeah.
good to be back.
Yeah. But
even though there's gonna be more dipshits at those games, but whatever.
yeah,
Take the good with the bad.
you're always gonna have that when it deals with sports. Unfortunately, there's a lot of
Yeah, I got
Yeah, those, yeah.
Philly.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, because the Euro Cup is happening right now, and I'm getting a lot of my friends that know nothing about soccer asking me, like,
Yeah.
what country should I root for? Who should I want to win this game? And then I'm like, well, you could like France because they're the previous World Cup holders, but also Portugal won the last Euro Cup. But also Belgium's team is looking really good this year. But also you got the dark horses, Switzerland, and this and that, whatever. And it's like, take your pick. Take your pick. It could be anybody's game. Just don't root for the Croatians because, Serbs and Croatians, they don't really get along. So, don't take my word for it.
Wow.
Even though the Croatians
Yeah.
have a better team than Serbia does, but
Sports.
Soccer.
Wow.
But yeah, I want Titanfall,
Soccer's
but
got
at the
this
same
new
time,
rule. Yeah, I was gonna say soccer's got this new rule now where if the ball hits the referee, the referee actually blows the whistle to stop the game.
What?
oh wow,
Yeah,
Wow.
it's kind of crazy.
That's unnecessary.
Yeah, it sure is. But
I mean, in football, the ref is just part of the field.
yeah, that's how it was with soccer all the time. It was just if the ball hits the referee, it was just like, well, you just got to deal with it because he's part of the field. But and now, like, I heard it was rumored, and then all of a sudden I'm watching games, and like the ball would hit the referee, and the referee would blow the whistle to stop the game and give it back to the team that had the ball. And it's like, okay,
Wow.
that's weird. Yeah,
yeah.
I think they would just say, "I try to get out of the way."
Well, sometimes they can't. Anyway,
We need
But yeah.
holographic refs.
Yeah, yeah, holographic refs, that would be, or like robot, like just make it all drones.
God.
that would be. I wouldn't doubt that happening sometime soon. I know some coaches have been calling for that,
Yeah.
calling for more like kind of close video style drone technology for refereeing games. And I think that would help all across the board. Like probably work in NFL. Like you would see like more like, slight like, more false start calls, I would imagine.
Yeah,
God, there would be a false start call every 5 seconds.
I know exactly. Like, everybody that falls to the ground in soccer and like wails their arms around like they got murdered, like a lot of that would probably get called out too, because it's like, yeah, he didn't touch you, so take it easy.
Wow.
Anyway.
but yeah,
So out of all these games, guys, what are you looking most forward to?
Oh,
of them.
jeez.
I
I mean, Halo aside, like that's the one I think is on my radar the most. I know I will probably play a little bit of Forza, but I want there's two games on this list that I really want to see more of, and Hellblade 2 is something I want to see more of because I really feel like with a bigger budget they could do something really interesting. Maybe not open world, but more. This could be Hellblade 2 could be their Last of Us style game, right? Or their God of War. Probably more like God of War, right? Where you tell this interesting story. There's hub worlds that you could go to, but they're not necessarily open world. I want to see more of that because that when they showed that trailer off and the fact that they said it was running on the engine's tech, and granted, it probably won't look that good on Xbox Series X, but like
Killzone 2 vibes.
yeah, but it could, right? Theoretically.
No, yeah, it could. I mean, when you look at some of the other tech demos that people have been bringing out, like, I mean, I bring it up again, but Forza Horizon 5's, little demo that they showed at E3 was just like, hey, check out this city in Mexico and check out these statues, and all of a sudden, bam, gameplay. Like, holy crap.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, if they take the direction that like a big PlayStation or Sony team does, and like really work on polishing the game and making it look its best. Like
I mean,
I think they could could easily make it look good.
I mean, you look at what the 20-person team did on a $10 million budget for that first game, right? Look at that game.
Yeah.
Its visuals were great. It wasn't the best looking game I ever saw, but the motion capture, especially in the expressions on her face, were second to none. I feel like you give that game a Microsoft sized budget and a 100-man team, what they could do.
Yeah.
And that's on the flip side. That's actually what has me a little bit worried, because the direction that the first Hellblade was in was kind of dealing with kind of like the dark side of mental illness and her in Senua's struggles with kind of coming to terms with, I guess, surviving with that.
Yeah.
And I guess we talked about this on our show last week, where we were talking about like, well, with this bigger budget, and from what I'm hearing, Melina, who's the actress who plays Senua, she's going through like severe, like extreme combat training. So it's like
our team is.
Yeah.
So it's like, is the game moving away from that kind of theme of highlighting mental illness and the struggles of it to like it's just going to be a combat brawler?
Well, the new theory behind this game, because they said in the interview that it's not a direct sequel.
Yeah,
it's just like a different side of her psychosis, which is really interesting because they could do, I mean, telling this story, not including the mental illness part of it at this part, but they could do the Assassin's Creed thing without the stuff that people hate, right? In terms of like, oh, well, here's the future stuff or whatever. But like Senua could be like, what if she, dealing with the psychosis, she just goes to these different worlds to deal with her psychosis. That would be super interesting to explore in terms of the mental illness part of the game, where like, oh, well, she's not herself. She's not, you know what I mean? Like
and like her multiple, the multiple sides of her kind of manifest in a real world way.
Yeah.
Because in the initial trailer I saw, I think it was at 2000, like last summer or something like that, the first E3 trailer, or it was like their December 2019 trailer. Yeah. Where it was like she looked angry. She looked angry. She was filled with blood rage, and I think at some point, her psychosis turned into kind of like a mad rage. At least that's what I interpret it.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how late they are in development of this game after like hearing about it like this last couple weeks. I was like, wow. I thought we would be seeing this game sooner.
Yeah, which I think part of that is just because like Unreal 5 is just came out for the most part this year for everyone.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a bunch of stuff that they have done, like they did, because like I've watched their diary stuff, and like they've been doing a lot of stuff on the back end that takes a lot of time, and now I think it's more about just programming that stuff that they've captured and all that into the game, like, and then I think it's like a little bit more speedy of a process from that point on. Because I'm sure there's a lot of like stuff they can reuse from the original game, as far as like coding stuff, or like like certain things that they can recycle, but
I imagine so, yeah.
Yeah. Plus,
but yeah, like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, plus, like with COVID and everything, I know that they couldn't really do the mocap stuff, all the way that they wanted to, right? They just had to wait it out, I guess. But
yeah, and the thing with Ninja Theory, like back on your worry of them like moving away from that stuff, like they've pretty much made it obvious that like their life goal is to continuously tackle the idea of trying to put people in experiences where they can understand mental, like the mental issues and
Right.
and
That's what that
disabilities.
Project Mara.
Project Mara is supposed to be that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
I think that's supposed to be more of a realistic take on it, whereas Senua is really, a fantastic look at it, trying to understand it.
Yeah, you're basically, from what they made it sound like, you're playing a person who is just very antisocial. You're locked in your apartment and you don't want to have anything to do with anyone, and you're just kind of going through your psychosis and losing your mind in this apartment, and like manipulating.
Anybody?
Manipulating the world around you, and everything takes place though in that apartment. But like I've watched some videos, man, of them like going into detail of like how they could like you could zoom into the floors in this apartment building and like see dust, like dust bunnies and stuff floating around on the floor, and like in the game like engine chunk thing that they're working on. But it's just gonna be really interesting, like what they're doing. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised if this game comes out before Hellblade 2.
Yeah, it's hard to say, because I mean there is a lot of stuff that they've kind of have working on, and it is like when you're, well, although it depends on what the psychosis stuff is doing as far as the world, like how the world changes, but like the fact that you're kind of staying in one area, like, and not having to build a whole entire like massive outside world from that, might give them an advantage and not being as long of a project. But that's the thing, we really haven't heard much about that. Like,
I'm sure we'll see more. I mean, I know they said they're going to show some more stuff this summer and into the fall. Plus, I think they're planning an EXO event at some point.
Yep.
But just to move along, because I know we want to get to your guys's. The other game I want to see is Fable, right? I mean, Indiana Jones is going to be my pick, but I feel like that's too early to talk about it. We can talk about that next year, I guess. But the fact that Forza Horizon 5 looks this good has me way more excited about Fable than it did, right? Like, I feel like Fable has the potential to be Xbox's Breath of the Wild plus, right? Like, you got this big open world, you can do whatever you want to do in the world, you can go wherever you want to go, right, in that aspect, but it's going to tell what I feel like might be a more cohesive story than Breath of the Wild. As great as Breath of the Wild is, and the memories and stuff are great story bits, like, you can kind of do that in whatever order you kind of want to do it, and you don't even have to find all of them, right, to get the story of the game. I feel like with the morality system, and like if they do things with the morality system that are similar to something that maybe BioWare did with Mass Effect or something, that could change the entire game completely at this point. And I feel like if they did like shrines or whatever, like their versions of shrines or their versions of dungeons or whatever, with like some sort of morality, and you could interact with the world differently. I don't know. I feel like Fable could be
procedurally generated.
No, I don't
beating
even want
dungeons
that.
can kind of like shape the landscape or something like that if you want to kind of like harness a power or like set it free or something like that, whatever. Yeah, that'd be kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking like think if like they messed around with the morality system, and if you became evil, like you could like see changes in like the weather of like more more worse weather effects, or like just they could have
Sky's
like
the limit at
cool
these
little
points.
things like that, even that they could mess around with, because
Yeah.
we know that the weather tech in that Forza
Mm.
thing is like just amazing. So
Well, because this new Fable is being made by Playground Games, right? The same people that are making Forza. Yeah. So I mean, they have all that unlock. Like they could. I mean, they got all the tools necessary.
Yeah. My thing too is like if you play it as a good guy, right? Like that could totally lock you out of some quests later on in the game, or if you play as a bad guy, you could be totally locked out of certain quests. And then it would probably
reminds me of Infamous. Infamous was kind of like that, where like if you went the good side, it actually locked quite a few missions.
Yeah. And you could play around with that. You could play around with people being scared of you, wanting to help you, depending on what side you took. I don't know. You could do so many different things with this. I really hope that they nail this, because like, I mean, moving from a racing game, right? Forza looks beautiful, but there's no story to it, right? Like, I just hope they built a good team to tell a good story, which by all accounts, it seems like they have, right? They've hired the right people. They've been staffing this project for 3 years, right? So I don't know. I'm excited to see more Fable. I hope it's good, and yeah. So
oh yeah, go ahead, Stoy.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
I was actually. It was funny when I saw Forza Horizon 5, I was like a little disappointed because I was like, I'm more of a Forza Motorsport kind of guy, because that was more my game. Like, I'm more into the racing simulation games and kind of like developing my cars, getting a little bit more in depth and actually taking it on racetracks. Not to say I didn't like the Horizon series. Like, I think they were kind of slow getting off the ground in terms of making it accessible and kind of making it fun. I don't think it became really good until Forza Horizon 3, where it just like, okay, now they got it. Now they got the formula. But yeah, motorsport was kind of more my thing, and I was disappointed to not see it show up at E3 this year, and that they're still working on it. But I hear they're trying different things, changing up the gameplay a bit. But I guess time will tell. I guess hopefully they'll have some news and at least some gameplay footage of it later this year. But I am definitely interested in Indiana Jones, because I mean, being a big Indiana Jones fan growing up, and I'm curious to see where Machine Games is going to take it. And I think they have Machine Games has the potential to tell a really good story with it, and a very kind of like funny story, because the Wolfenstein games were actually kind of like, they had a lot of like kind of funny tongue-in-cheek moments, especially in New Colossus. You got the guy that trips on acid before every mission, and you got this you got the pregnant hormonal lady that just loves to like bathe herself in blood and like loves violence and killing, and just in wild moments like that I'm like, okay, I think they could really do good things with Indiana Jones. Maybe not to that level, but I'm excited to see more from that. And Obsidian makes really good RPGs in the past, and with Pillars of Eternity, Dungeon Siege 3 was a really good one that I played from them. Alpha Protocol, by all means, was an RPG in some way. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Avowed. I hope they have multiple branching story paths, where like the choices that you pick matter. So I'm imagining kind of like Dragon Age a little bit, where like you got in that classic setting, but like you have different choices and different paths to take. with dialogue trees and stuff. I'd be really excited to see if that's kind of where they're gonna go. But yeah, those are pretty much the ones that I'm really looking forward to. Besides, obviously, everybody knows Starfield. Everybody's excited for that one. So
yeah, I'm for me, like I guess like I'm excited to know what we don't know yet. So those games that we don't have a lot on are what are most intriguing to me.
What, these
I
26 games don't do enough for you, Jesse?
well,
You need to know more.
no, I mean like some of the games that are on there that we don't know a lot about yet. Well, a Perfect Dark, I'm really excited to find out what that's gonna be like,
Yeah.
what they're gonna do with that.
I'm really surprised it's going to be first person. I thought they were going to go like,
Third
okay,
person.
well, Ubisoft's not making a Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Konami seems to be done with Metal Gear for the most part. Like, this could have been their chance to be like, hey, we're bringing the stealth genre back, right? It's a big budget quadruple A. It's on Game Pass, right? So we're not worried about selling 6 billion copies. Like, this could have been it in like a gadget-based stealth action game, and I'm just like, oh man, first person.
I wouldn't be surprised because I think the Perfect Dark Zero had a blend of first and third person viewpoints. Like when you would get into cover mode, like the camera would pan out and show your character, kind of like how the old Rainbow Six games used to be, Rainbow Six Vegas.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just surprised that they're doing the first person thing. Especially with you got enough first person games in the Outer Worlds and Halo and Avowed and Starfield and all these other. I'm assuming Redfall's probably going to be first person. It's like
probably, yeah.
I feel like you got enough first person. Like, this could have been their chance to be like, we're changing it up. People have fond memories of that first game. It's 20 years old at this point. Perfect Dark Zero didn't blow anybody out of the water, so here's our chance to take this beloved IP that really only has one good entry and switching it up. And
isn't that weird?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though,
that laptop gun is in there.
That laptop gun, yeah.
Well, there's so many times though where we've heard about games being created and in one viewpoint, and then they end up changing it later down the line, and I mean, who knows? But like, I think for me, I don't care that it's in first person as long as they can nail down the story and give us a really good story, something that we haven't had, for Perfect Dark, since the first one, I would argue. But like, even that one, like, honestly, was pretty bare bones in my opinion. But like, because I would just like to see Joanna Dark be something bigger than what she is right now. Like, I want that to be a character that Microsoft is proud to say we own, and she's like an icon of the franchise or of the company.
I mean, she could easily be like, if they do this correctly, she could easily be up there with Master Chief, right?
Yeah,
because I mean, right now they're kind of promoting like Senua and Kate from Gears 5, right, or Gears 4 and 5, right, as like, here's the main protagonist for these franchises. And as big as those games are, like, Kate Diaz is not a household name, right?
No,
Joanna Dark has one good game attached to her, and more people know who Joanna Dark is than Kate Diaz, right? Like, she could, like, if you nail this and give us a good campaign with, I mean, I don't know if this game's gonna have multiplayer or not. I don't know if they want competing multiplayer games, right? Like with Halo and Gears and stuff, but like, she could be up there with Master Chief, I feel like. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
She could be there, Lara Croft. Like, like, I'd put her up there with Lara Croft as far as like a character, an iconic character that is female and has kind of always been like, like, she just does her thing, and like, Yeah, it's so yeah, like so that like that's something that I'm just really excited to hear more about and stuff. But like and then like you guys it's the the Fable. I'm really excited to just see what that becomes.
Yeah.
And then the other one is for me, Outer Worlds 2. Like I haven't finished the first one yet. I really want to one of these days sit down and actually focus on that game. But I've played a bunch of it. It's just I have too much fun just goofing around in that world, and I don't ever get anything accomplished. But
I mean, it's
I,
fun. It's
yeah,
definitely gets crazy like the closer to the end you get. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's definitely unique in a way.
Yeah, and the story, like how you pick whether you choose people's sides, and like I'm just all for them making another one of those, and because I'll be honest, that game ended up being my Fallout. Like I've
Oh
bought and
yeah.
I've played every single Fallout, but I just never really they never really truly knocked it out of the park for me.
It's a
So
game I want to like,
yeah,
and I just never
exactly,
got.
exactly. But
Well, yeah,
a
because
lot,
that game came out at the same time Fallout 76 came, right? I think it was in the
yeah,
same release year. So it was
yeah,
like, here's the Fallout that you guys deserve,
yeah,
not 76, which
yeah.
kind of
It was
was
pretty
unfortunately a
close.
travesty as it when it came out. But yeah. So
I
that
know a
was the
lot of
Fallout game
people like
people.
it now, but
Well,
yeah,
yeah, but that goes back to that same argument that we had a while ago, like how much damage does it take for you to fix a game
yeah,
and then like say, okay, it's great, it's perfect now, buy
yeah,
it now. It's like the damage has already been done.
yeah,
We don't know if it's going to be enough to kind of get people back into your game and even get new people in. But
yeah,
that's a whole nother
yeah.
topic.
Yeah, and it's just gonna be really interesting though with Microsoft owning both of those companies and them essentially still making like a Fallout game when they actually own Fallout,
Well, I think
it's
it's in their best interest. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
admittedly, the more these big experiences that you can have on one
yeah,
system, the better.
yeah, yeah.
And I
Well,
think Microsoft is probably the type of publisher that's just like, here, go for it. Make the game
and
that you want.
yeah, and I mean honestly, I think it would work for them to be the fall like Outer Worlds be the Fallout Light, where it does some of the same things. You're obviously getting a completely different story, but
I
those are more for the people like me who don't want to be able to literally pick up every piece of trash in the world. Like I do not need to pick up cigarette packs and spoons and
Yeah,
plates
Fallout.
and
well,
and cups and like
I
I don't
think
need that.
I
But
think the
there are
Outer
people
Worlds
who
and
want that.
Avowed. I think the Outer Worlds and Avowed are going to be designed to be the supplemental versions of those games. Where like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we're not going to get another Fallout for probably like 10 years, right? But
Yeah.
we're going to get 3 Outer Worlds games in that time, right? Or okay,
Uh-huh.
Outer Scrolls 6 isn't coming out for probably 3 or 4 years at this point now. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna get Avowed and Pillars of Eternity and whatever and Exiles fantasy RPGs, right? Like they've
Yeah.
got the lineup to fill those voids, right? And
Yeah.
Phil Spencer's talked about this, where like every game they put out is not going to be a triple A, quadruple A game. It's going to
Yeah.
be a double A experience. I mean, look at Psychonauts. I mean, it looks
looks
great.
amazing.
It looks amazing, but that's not a triple A game, right? It's
No,
Double
yeah.
Fine. It's going to be
Yeah.
like a double A, maybe 20-hour platforming experience, maybe if you want to get everything. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Psychonauts. I love
Yeah.
that first game to death, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be on the same level as like a Mario Odyssey or a Starfield or something of that nature, you know.
Well,
I mean,
that's
put,
okay.
I'd put that
And that's
I'd put that on the level of like a Ratchet and Clank or like those kind of like 3D platformer
Yeah,
kind of
it's
world. Like I think it could be a very
a
like
portfolio filler that has the
yeah,
potential to be great, right? Like
yeah,
that's how I feel it.
an
That's how
iconic.
I see
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think sometimes we put too much stock in AAA titles for them to be like the big system sellers, but there's a lot of other great smaller experiences that
Indeed.
I think are even more enjoyable than some of the big AAA titles that these developers push. I
Yeah.
mean, there's probably people out there that will enjoy Psychonauts 2 a hell of a lot more than Halo
yeah.
Infinite,
Well,
or Starfield when it comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like Life is Strange and like all those kind of games that aren't like massive games,
Mhm.
but they're still very, very impactful, like on what they're doing and the story. And that's all that really matters a lot of the times for certain things, like
Mhm.
if it's telling a good story and the gameplay is it works well. It doesn't even have to be perfect. If it just works well,
Mhm.
that's all that people like really honestly care about. And
Don't
like,
release a broken game on day one.
yeah,
Fix
I mean, yeah, like that. As long as Microsoft can stay away from, like having something like really bad come out when it shouldn't, which they
Could you-
did. They decided not to do with Halo, and
Could
they
you
made a
imagine
good
if
choice.
Halo came out last year? Could you
Yeah.
imagine if Halo
That would have
Infinite came out
killed
last year?
the franchise. I think that would have killed it.
Yeah,
I
They would
think
have
it would've-
spent a whole year and a half fixing it, and the damage would have been done and irreversible. Like
I
it would have
feel
just
like
killed.
I feel like it would almost kill the Xbox brand at that point.
Yeah,
like,
that hurt too. Yeah.
It would have killed all the goodwill that people have for the brand. It would have killed all of everything they've been building with Game Pass and
yeah,
everything else that they're doing. Like it would have just crushed it. Like
yeah.
I hate to say that, but
Yeah.
a lot
You're right.
rides.
Well,
a
I mean,
lot. Halo is one of the only franchises you look at and say, this entry needs to be perfect or that franchise will die. Like it's I can't even name another franchise right now where if Halo is even less than perfect, like even if it's like an 8.5 or a 9, right? Like that franchise is not. I don't know. I just
well,
feel
yeah,
like
because imagine if they made a kind of like a first party like Super Mario game, like a big huge adventure game. Like imagine if Super Mario Odyssey came out to be a broken mess of a game. That would have killed Nintendo for sure, because when you think Nintendo, you think Mario. When you think Xbox, you think Master Chief.
Yeah, but Nintendo has a lot of supplementary titles like Zelda and Animal Crossing
that's it.
and Mario Kart and like.
Yeah.
I still feel like Xbox isn't on that level where people look at their supplementary franchises and say this can hold the box up. Like I still think Gears is Xbox's best franchise personally, especially in the last 10 years, right? Especially in the last 10 years. But I don't feel like it's on the same level as Halo in a lot of people's eyes, and it's just you can only do so much with Gears and Forza, right? Like you can only do so much. Halo is the franchise that built Xbox, so Halo needs to be perfect for Xbox.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that's the thing is like really, I think honestly that's what's going to be crucial about these next couple of years for Microsoft. Is I do think that a lot of those games, their games and stuff, do have the potential to get to that point of them being in there. It's just they, like they're, like say what you will, like I liked a lot of the aspects of Halo 5. The story was not there.
I played through that story 3 times. I still don't know what happened.
Yeah,
I actually like the story. I mean, the mystique behind it, I guess, and the all the different characters. I don't know.
See, I liked the whole idea, the whole concept of the story. I like the idea of her being corrupt and it, like throwing things into into kind of a mess. Like I really love the idea that.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing is I wish they would have made a fully recognized, realized story of that and actually finished it all in that game. Like
I feel like Halo 5 should have been the Master Chief story and the Cortana story, and then the stuff with Locke should have been an ODST style, standalone DLC, or that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah,
right? Like I don't mind
there's
that
a lot of stuff going on.
I don't mind that you play as other characters in Halo, right? Like I actually think Reach and ODST are, not so much Reach because I didn't really finish it. I played in the multiplayer though. I really like the multiplayer for the most part. I like the jetpacks. But like Halo is such a big universe. Why wouldn't you explore these other characters and these other side stories and whatever?
Yeah.
But like I still feel like the numbered entries should be about Chief and Cortana. Like that's how I will always feel. If you want to do a spin-off Halo game, fine. Just don't put a number on it. And I think that was, I don't know. I know that game had a lot of development problems and they were changing leadership roles and everything during that time, and they had to get it out, and they kind of hit the reset button on Xbox during the development, and they just had to get it out, whatever. But I still feel like Halo 5 needed to focus more on Chief and Cortana, and it just did not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I think they're going to do that. I think they're going to make up for it in Infinite. I went from being really
I think so too. Yeah.
I went from being really worried about Infinite to being really excited and pumped to play it.
Yeah, the same here. Like you, I've been jumping into Halo 5 multiplayer, just playing that because I just absolutely love that Fiesta Battle Royale mode. It's so fun.
Yeah,
but
so fun.
Yeah, so I'm so excited for Halo. I'm in the, I'm definitely in that same situation where just that little bit of story that they gave us where Master Chief is talking to the AI and how they like going to go figure out and find Cortana or whatever. Like I was just like, yes, I this is what I wanted more of in 5. I wanted more of the story of Cortana, because I do love the idea, like I said, of just like like corrupted, like almost like like the like Terminator kind of thing, where like you've got this corruption, and then like someone sent to try to fix this issue, and like
I think the thing too is like the Chief Cortana story is so interesting. It's like it's pretty much one of the only first person games that has a story that people really care about, to an extent. Like, I mean, people care about Destiny's story, but like only the hardcore people are going to go find that story because it's not really in the game all that much, right?
You got to read about it.
I feel like I just watch My Name is Bife. His lore videos are great if you're interested in the story at all. But I feel like the Halo campaign is the one campaign that needs to tell the story correctly. And I know this is like a big meme where Chief and Cortana are like, they love each other, like they're gonna go off and cyberfuck each other. I don't know what they're doing, but like I feel like,
well, apparently in this one, Master Chief has moved on. He's already inserted some other in his.
But I think their love for each other is not like, that kind of love. I think it's like a Chief loves Cortana because Cortana was always there for him, and Cortana loves Chief because Chief's always there for him, and it's like a really deep bonding friendship style love, and I feel like that's what everybody hangs on to, and we didn't really get a lot of that in 5, and I feel like that's what disappointed a lot of people. So I'm interested to see what this new AI, if this new AI can track Cortana down, and maybe they. My theory is that Cortana's brain or whatever, the digital brain of Cortana is going to be inserted into this new younger AI and kind of reincarnate herself into this AI, is my theory.
Cortana's not able to die. I think that's kind of how they're going to weave the story in, because that's the complicated thing about writing AI is, or in video games, or even in writing in general, is just like AI is very self-aware, so like an AI is not going to willingly delete itself. It's like
Yeah.
a human
Yeah.
willingly delete itself. Like
Yeah.
if that AI is self-aware, they're not going to fully go along with it. Like they're going to fight back, and they're going to kind of take any means necessary to ensure their survival. So
Yeah.
I think that's where they're going to take her story, to say like she's fighting for herself of survival. So Halo or Master Chief is going to find out, like, hey, the hell,
John
Yeah.
Halo.
Yeah.
John Halo is Halo.
Our Cortana gets put into a robot body, and she is Joanna Dark.
Yeah. Perfect Dark Justice. Halo. Side tangent on Halo. Did you see that the showrunners have left the first season of the show, the Showtime show?
Yeah, what the heck is that about?
Halfway through production.
What the hell happened? I didn't read it, but
yeah, I don't know what happened. They left the show, and apparently filming is done for the show.
Okay.
But like they're just editing it and making sure all the effects are in and everything now. But like, man, the show.
Yeah, I don't. What is it with Halo? What is it with Halo and just having such bad, like, just has such a bad time when it comes to the video format of a Halo.
I like Forward Unto Dawn. I mean, the effects were kind of bad, but like I really liked it. I thought it was neat.
Yeah.
That's that like the one that was like the ODST kind of style, like.
No, that was I think that was Nightfall.
Nightfall was ODST. I think Forward Until Dawn was that was based on Reach, right? Wasn't it kind of?
No, it was a prequel to Halo 4, and it told the story of that kid, the kid that ended up being the commander in Halo 4 and 5.
Oh, okay.
And how he wanted to enter the Spartan program, but he has like brittle bone syndrome or something where there's something wrong with him to where he couldn't enter the Spartan program because his body wasn't able to take on the testing.
Yeah, it would have just shattered his body if he wore the suit.
Couldn't turn to a 9-foot behemoth.
Yeah, so like he just became a commander or whatever. But yeah,
can I say how jarring some of those scenes were in Halo 5, where like you're seeing like Nathan Fillion like tower over this like normal human looking person? Like, damn, like that was just jarring for me how they like kind of like wrote those cutscenes.
Yeah, those cutscenes were good looking cutscenes.
Yes, they were. So,
yeah, man, what are we talking about now?
I don't know.
Out of the list, what were we most excited for?
Right.
Because when you stepped out, I talked about my excitement for Indiana Jones, and Machine Games really taking some fun with the script. But I want Forza Motorsport more than Horizon 5. But I'll take Horizon 5. Mm-hmm. But I want my Motorsport.
Yeah. I'm excited for Indiana Jones. I hope they have some fun with it. I think
Machine Games is like the perfect developer for it.
Yeah.
What they did with Wolfenstein series, they did a really good job. And
I think it's going to be first person. You think it's going to be first person?
No, I don't. God, it better not be. It better not be. That is no way to. That's no way to do my man's like that. Don't do Indiana Jones in first person.
You got to be able to get your hat knocked off and have to pick it back.
I know, because that's part of the iconic look. Like, how are you going to see like his hat in first person? Get out of here.
Yeah, you gotta. You just look in one of those mirrors, like in Cyberpunk, so you can actually see your character that you design.
Yeah, right. Oh, you want to run around with your, wang hanging out? Like, it's not like you can see it.
That's my whip.
Yeah.
How bad is this Harrison Ford sounding like going to sound?
I don't know.
Grumpy Harrison Ford. Maybe they'll just get drunk.
I hate snakes, Jacques.
Snakes.
Well, it depends, because I hear this is going to be kind of like an origin story. At least the direction that they're going to go to. So I'm assuming
kind of an origin story for Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So I think I'm hoping for some like 20-year-old, like, kind of, young Han Solo. That's what I'm imagining. So
we already got the origin story. It's the first 15 minutes of The Last Crusade.
But River Phoenix is dead. He's not here.
It's fine.
No matter how much we want him to be here to do Indiana Jones right. But
There's the thing is there's so many stories and so many adventures that he had went on that weren't touched in the movies, but we know that that exist in the world,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
universe.
I
That's
actually,
the thing.
when I was a kid, I mean, there was a whole TV series on the Young Indiana Jones
Yeah, Young
Chronicles.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
I read
loved
a
that.
bunch of those books. Like, so there's a ton of content that they could throw in there.
Yeah.
They better put that on Disney Plus when Indiana Jones 5 comes out next year. Just see
Yeah.
Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Yeah.
Although I think those movies are still on Netflix. So
Oh, they are? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wish Disney cared about Indiana Jones as much as they care about Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah.
God, well, it doesn't sound like Disney cares about Star Wars much anymore. But yeah,
Are you kidding? They're making like 15 shows.
yeah, I know, but I guess I'm thinking like mainline movies. I'm
Well,
thinking they're probably going to be
yeah.
abandoning that for a while.
Well,
I would.
honestly, what they
Yeah.
need to do is they need to abandon. Yeah, they just need to. They just
Bucks
need
one.
to. They need to wipe their hands of the old,
Jesse.
characters.
Jesse, the Bucks
What?
won.
Yes, sports.
I
Right,
literally
the
have
Cavs
you
haven't been
guys
good in
here on
5
the side
years,
of my
so.
screen, and then I have the Bucks score right here. So, I'm sorry.
That's
The Cavs haven't been good in 5 years, so it's fine.
Yeah, you had your shot.
It did.
Couple
We
years
we
ago.
had our shot and we capitalized on it.
Yeah, so good for you.
Yeah, I know. And then we suck again, but it's okay. The Browns are good now, so it's fine.
Yeah, you guys got that going for you.
Yeah. No, you know what? We had one good season. We're gonna suck this year, and then they're gonna blow up the team, and we're gonna start over.
Yeah. You know what you should do? You should do kind of like what European soccer leagues do is like get some rich oil tycoon to buy part of your team, and then just yeah.
A rich oil tycoon does own the Browns. The
Okay, you need another one.
they own like a trucking company or truck stops and oil, like a line of
Is it the
gas
Flying
station
J?
or something.
Is it the Flying
Yeah.
J? Is that who
Yeah.
owns your team?
Yeah.
See, that would be beneficial if all of a sudden the Packers got picked up by Quick Trip. All of a sudden, the guy that owns Quick Trip or something like that comes in. For those that don't know, Quick Trip is our little convenience gas station store here. But yeah,
mostly
Like Wawa or Sheets. Sounds
I,
like.
I guess
It's like a 7-Eleven but better.
yeah, but better food.
Yeah, their food is top of the line. It's
Yep.
as good as you can get in a gas station.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Ohio, Pennsylvania area, there's a place called Sheets where you can. It's like gourmet food at a gas station. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
Yep, same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same
Yeah,
with Quick
it's-
Trip. Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, Xbox is to go back to Xbox, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think over the next couple of years, I think they're going to kill it in exclusive, and I think PlayStation's going to be kind of lacking behind. Because I mean, depending on what they show in their showcase, I think it should be coming out in July.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to come out guns blazing, like to really impress us, because what Microsoft showed us is pretty damn impressive, and Sony's got to come up with something hugely substantial, like.
I mean, the thing is like all their big hitting games are coming to PlayStation 4 also. Like that's
Right now, yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
So they're
both of them are taking the opposite direction of what they originally said, right? It was like Xbox said that they were going to support the Xbox One for like a year and a half after, which, to be fair, they've done that. They're going to do that by the time Halo comes out, and a couple other games probably after that.
But they're doing.
PlayStation-
They're in a position though where they can do it in a unique way because
I know with the
you
cloud
being able to play Series X
which is-
games on your Xbox One.
which is a really smart way to get
Like-
around that, right? Like I really
Yeah.
feel like that's a smart way to ease people into next gen, get people the games that they want to play without having to invest, right? Like I
Mhm.
again, with Game Pass and the smart TV app or the app on your phone or the Game Pass app on your previous gen console, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I just don't.
Mhm.
I don't have any critical. And I don't know. As somebody who's been really critical of Xbox in the past, I just don't have that. I just don't.
Yeah.
And I feel like PlayStation has decent exclusives, right? But like they don't have a way to compete with Game Pass or the cloud, right? Like PlayStation Now still streams old games at 720p, right? Like nobody wants that. I'm sorry. I tried to play God of War Ascension through PlayStation Now. It's not good.
No, it's not.
Well,
It's
you know,
not good.
and then like, you know, like say what you will, but what Microsoft is doing with taking old games, making you be able to play them 100 times better than what they ever looked like when they first came out, and like doing all that work, like and I've thought this for a long time now, but like it's all these things that PlayStation has looked at Microsoft doing and been like, you know, just, you know, who cares?
It's a lot of little things. It's a lot of little things that build up and build up and build up and build up, and all of a sudden you have this suite of features that, like, yeah, maybe your audience won't use them all, but some of them will use some of them, right?
Yeah,
And this other section will use some of them. You know, like I think backwards compatibility stuff is like, yeah, now that I can play them, like I looked at this infographic the other day of Ubisoft. You can play the full series of games on Xbox Series X, right? Assassin's Creed, you can play the entire series from start to finish on your Series X.
Yep.
You can play every single Splinter Cell game from start to finish on your Series X. You can play what was the other one? The Rayman games from start to finish. Prince of Persia from start to finish. Like South Park. Like all these games are the entire series of these Ubisoft games are on. Far Cry was another one. The entire series from Far.
And a lot of them have performance boosts too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they'll put up like 60 frames a second. Well, you know, 4K upgrades and stuff to them. Like not even like just. I think mostly just performance boosts. So like you're getting the full experience, you know, on your modern TV.
Well, and to the people who have said, you know, like that, oh, like who cares? All you're doing is getting old games. Okay, how many people were like trying so desperately to get the SNES minis and the NES minis, and like you can't tell me that old games don't have a place in the market still today. Like like game preservation has been something people have been worried about not being handled properly for a long time, and Microsoft, in my opinion, is saying, hey, we want to actually help you know, preserve these games.
I mean, you look,
and we can do it.
The average
we can
video
make
gamer
it better.
age. The average video gamer age is 35 right now.
Yeah.
Like I think from when I read that in like 2019 or something like that, it's 35. So we're talking like almost like 20 decades of video game experience that these people that we have. So, and we get nostalgic for those things, you know, like nostalgic, and like I want to play Far Cry 3. Well, great, I have a system that I can play it on, you know, instead of having to dig out my 360 or whatever, you know, for it. You can play all the Mass Effect games, you know, the original ones. If you don't buy the Legendary Edition, you can do all that on the Xbox Series X as well. And yeah, you can, you know, if you get nostalgic, you can fire that up again.
We were talking about this on Nintendo Power Block a couple weeks ago, where like Switch has such a dedicated audience of old and new gamers on it, and
virtual console.
They've like we actually talked about that. Like, does Switch need a virtual console? I said yes.
Yeah.
And they've proved they can do GameCube, Wii, and N64 emulation with the Mario 3D All-Star Collection, which I think was personally, I think that was their test run of emulating these games. But like, they're the ones that have the richest history of back catalog, and there is no way to play anything on the Switch except for NES and Super NES games, and you can't even buy them to keep, right? Like if you don't subscribe to their service, you can't keep them, which granted, we're talking about Xbox and their Game Pass and how great it is, right? But like Nintendo has the opportunity to do the exact same thing with their entire back catalog of games, and they aren't doing it.
And I think the best place to play a lot of old school classic games is the Wii U.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day too. Is like Wii U has the best virtual console. It has all the consoles up there. N64. It has Game Boy Advance. It has DS games on there.
Yeah, Game Boy Advance, DS. It's got a couple of Nintendo 64 games. I think it's literally the system to have if you want to play the most, if not all, the Legend of Zelda games.
Yeah, it's the only game you can play them all currently, except for the 3DS iterations.
Yeah.
So it's really frustrating because, like, granted, I'm really nostalgic for a lot of Xbox titles, but Xbox does not have the back catalog that Nintendo and Sony really do.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are doing it the best.
Yeah.
They're doing
it
the best.
Which is opposite.
Yeah.
And like I think the Master Chief Collection now is like, if you're gonna release classic games or like a collection of games, the way that Master Chief Collection, the Master Chief Collection is a new standard. Give me a hub, right? We were talking about this a couple weeks ago for like a Gears of War Marcus Phoenix collection or whatever. Where like, give me a hub, right? You can play all the multiplayer maps, right? You can play 6 versions of Gridlock. Nobody really cares.
I like Gridlock.
I know, I do too. I think everybody does. That's why it's in every game.
Yeah.
But like, give me a hub, give me a list of the campaigns. Let me play through the campaigns. Give me the multiplayer. Maybe you adjust the multiplayer to run more like Gears 4 and 5 instead of like Gears 1, 2, and 3. Like, maybe give it a fresh upgrade or whatever. Like, just let me play all these games in one spot, right? These classic games that we've loved. Like, I love Gears. I don't want to play I don't want to have to close out, open a 360 version of the game, play it at 30 frames. I still think a Marcus Phoenix collection is coming, right? I think it's going to include 1, 2, 3 in Judgment. I still think that is coming probably sometime next year, but like,
especially since I imagine we're going to be waiting a while for Gears 6.
Yeah, because I think they said their new IP is coming first.
Yeah, because they've literally made no mention of it at all, and they like teasing, upcoming games. But yeah, they've literally made no mention at all this summer.
Yeah. So. Well, we usually only go 3 or I think the time between Gears 4 and 5 was the longest we've gone, and it was 3.5 or 4 years. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think the Coalition is Microsoft's best studio right now. By the way, just to be clear, I think Gears 5 is like the premier Xbox game right now. So if you haven't played Gears 5, you should play it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think what they did to change the formula and still make it a Gears game, was just amazing.
I thought they opened.
What do they call those? Like those trip skis or whatever?
Yeah,
amazing.
I think the open world concept, like the open hub areas, was an interesting concept.
Yeah,
I think they could do more with that if they took a little bit more time. Also,
well, that's where I think Halo's gonna go.
Yeah,
because I talked about this. Like, what's the direction? Well, we talked about this on one of the E3 episodes where that's where I think it's gonna go. Is that it's gonna be a big open hub world area, but you're going to go there to knock out this station. You're going to go there to knock out those guns, or you're going to go there to shut down the computer system, or go explore in that cave down there to see what's happening.
Yeah.
That's where I think it's going to go.
Well, yeah, you could like see a world where there's a war going on.
Yeah,
you're just kind of hopping in, similar to like what you see in like a Marvel movie when you have like there's stuff going on and then, the superhero comes and joins the fight. And kind of, like brings things back under the control and then moves off to another, battle or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you, Stoy, though. Like, I think like there's going to be it's going to be a linear story, but the main beats are going to be linear, and then the stuff you do in between the main beats are going to be like, you're going to get story elements out of those, but they can kind of happen in whatever order. You're still going to get to the same point.
Yeah, and a lot of it may even be optional content, like, this is an optional cave to explore to get things, or even just to maybe expand the story a little bit and maybe introduce some new characters, but definitely not imperative for for you to complete your main mission. But yeah,
I'm just excited. I can't.
Man, sky's the limit for Xbox, dude. Like I said,
Yeah.
I think over the next, I think, they're gonna Xbox is gonna pull down their pants and say, "Look at this," and that's it. And that'll end the console wars.
That's what you call big dick energy.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and this is just the beginning, which is the exciting part. I mean, there's still so many, I don't think these are going to be the only new IPs that we see for the next couple of years. I think we can see getting new IPs from different companies or developers and stuff that they own, kind of taking, they have this idea of being on every 3 months that you get a big title, from them. But I think
with 30 studios, you should be able to do that, right?
Yeah. And I think this is just the beginning. This is the beginning of the year the beginning part of 2021, where we're gonna start seeing we're gonna see about 6 new IPs or 6 new games, for the rest of the year, and then I think that pattern is just gonna keep going for the length of the Series X and beyond.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is why we were talking about earlier, that sometimes it's just as important to have your AA or your smaller games to get a chance to maybe experience something or play around with something that you have an idea of that you can bring into your AAA game, later.
Right,
That's kind of always been the secret behind developing, is these smaller games are a lot of the times just a test bed for an idea that they want to do in their bigger games. So Sunset Overdrive, was a lot of that stuff went into Spider-Man, that was kind of a test bed. So it's
well, even a Link Between Worlds was a test bed for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
That was a small 3DS title, a great game on its own, but definitely a test bed for what they put into Breath of the Wild ultimately in the end.
Yeah. So it's it's definitely an exciting time to be an owner of Xbox, and it's exciting to be.
You know what? I'm gonna call Phil Spencer right now, and I'm gonna ask him where my money is. I mean, just come on.
It's just
he's got to pick up this time. I've left him 10 voicemails last week.
Just Skype him in.
Yeah, that's right. Where am I? Yeah, this is a Microsoft-owned app. What the heck?
Yeah. Isn't there?
Sorry, we're not using Teams. He's not coming in.
Oh, come on. Isn't there a Phil Spencer button?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna
Immediate
say.
on-demand.
It's just this big button down there where it's your microphone, your camera, the end call button, and it's just a button with Phil's face on it. You just click on it.
It's disguised as Clippy, but it's really Phil Spencer.
God. Oh, Clippy! Don't make fun of Clippy.
I'm not. I'm just saying that.
Don't say anything bad about Clippy, okay?
Clippy will find you.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised we never got a Clippy game. What if Clippy was their Mario?
I think that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah,
he's the first DLC character of Killer Instinct 2.
Yeah. He can bend into anything. But, yeah, I'm just excited to hopefully see competition, between the consoles of them pushing each other to come up with better ideas. That's something that.
Well, it's good for the industry overall.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
The competition, with Xbox 360's dominance over PlayStation 3 in the early parts of the console cycle, that kind of drive pushed Sony to be what it is now. I mean, if they had just kind of rested on their laurels and just kind of coasted on by, PlayStation 4 wouldn't have been the big hit it is now. PlayStation
would
5
we have
obviously
had
wouldn't be either.
Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yeah, would we have had Ghost of
you know,
Tsushima or any of these
yeah.
other like
Yeah.
these big IPs? God of War, I don't think would have been what it is now.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have taken those liberties. But yeah, I mean, this is only good for the industry. Like what happened with the Xbox One and that life cycle, like it was both a good and bad thing. We got some good things out of it because Microsoft kind of pushed to be where they are now, but also it had its bad parts about it where they had to make 3 different versions of the Xbox just to get it to work right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, yeah, I think we ended on that. Now that we've ran like almost 3 hours.
Oh God, has it really been that long?
I don't think so. I think it's been about like 2 hours or something. But
Well,
yeah, I mean, we did talk for like a half hour at the beginning, so
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, like 2:15. But all right, so yeah, let's throw up the X one last time.
Rearrange the whole game from the underground.
Yeah. And before we head out, Stoy, would you like to plug anything that you want the people to know about?
Yeah, my OG crew, the EXP Cast. We're a video game podcast. We've been around for a long time, and we talk about video games as well. We post 2 episodes a week, so because we noticed our episodes are running really long. Like our episodes are running for like 2:45, 3 hours long, and so we decided to split them in 2. So you get 2 episodes per week from us, and they release Mondays and Thursdays on whatever platform you listen to podcasts. And we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EXPcast. And we're also on the Boss Rush Games Discord. We get a lot of activity through there because Josh is building a shelf, so we got a lot of like video game collectors in our group. So
yeah,
if you collect video games, it's a good place to go to talk to like-minded people. But
nice.
I kind of feel the timing of me being on this show was bad because we just released a contest on our social medias where we had like all of us on the show designed our own Xbox controller.
Yeah.
And we would have people vote on which ones was better, and the winner from all the people that voted would get the one that got the most votes.
Yeah.
So it was like too bad that the contest literally ended today, but
yeah.
So you'll miss it. But I think we're gonna run stuff like that a little bit more often in the future. So, but yeah, actually we're gonna take a month off because I have a lot of weekend plans.
Yeah.
And I'm the showrunner, so it would just be a hassle to just reschedule everything. So usually we take like at least like 3 weeks off in the year just to kind of like grease the wheels again and just kind of refocus a bit. So yeah, we got one more episode coming this month, and then that'll be it till August.
Yeah, it's that. We do enough sitting around and not getting to do anything during winter sometimes that it's like once summer comes around, it's like.
Yeah, you feel me.
Yeah, so.
You feel me on that.
Yeah, and Corey, I'm sure too.
Thank you for having me. I hope to be a routine person on this show. So.
Yeah, we
hope so too.
Yeah. It was definitely a lot of fun today. So.
Yeah.
All right, Corey. Yeah, is there anything that where can people find you?
You can find me. I am Corey HG on Twitter. You can find me hosting Tower Casuals and the Boss Rush podcast. I'm also on Nintendo Power Block, so you can find me there as well.
All right. And I'm your host, Jesse Douglas. You can find me everywhere as Phantom NXS. And now we'll throw the X one more time.
Wasn't NXS? Wasn't that the original title of the Switch before it came out? Wasn't that it?
Well,
is that where you got the name from?
Well, yeah. Well, we mixed it.
Well, the original show for the Boss Rush podcast, we called it the NX show because we didn't really know what to call it, and we were merging Nintendo Power Block and Arsenal X. So
yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Plus it was like a playoff of that too. So.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's
the
fair.
Nintendo Xbox show.
And then as soon as Jesse changed his name, we changed the name of the show. So
yeah, which is fine. I still like NXS.
Yeah.
I like together, like as at the ending of my thing. I still like it. Otherwise, I would have changed it. But
Right.
So yeah, but
Cool.
all right. Well, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.